Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a
Hello,
red
Trabant.
dress. Call
Hello, Tito.
911.
Tito, what happened to our old YouTube channel, Seeing My Eyes?
God, I wish I knew. The only thing I do know, I was not able to log in anymore.
Yeah, it feels like somebody hacked
It
our
feels it feels
Gmail.
very suspicious because I there was some copyright claim for the last video, but I don't know if that was related. But
Hmm?
it,
Yeah, but I feel like somebody hacked our
I don't know.
Gmail.
I mean, it feels very fishy. I wasn't able to log in, and I wasn't able to get to Gmail in to be able to contact them in any way.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Very,
here we
very weird.
are. But hey, welcome to China Podcast. If anyone asks what China podcast you listen to, just tell them China Podcast.
Only one.
Yeah, I mean, if the name's free, take it.
Yeah, right, right. So I really hope that this will be our home for from now on, and we will never have to change our channel again.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Tito. Thanks for the work, and I really hope that our old videos and our new videos uh, found a new home.
Yeah, me
All right.
too. Well, we still have them,
Yeah.
so that's what's important.
Okay, so let's just dig in our today's topic, which is G7.
Wow, yeah.
G7, yeah, for
Big
our
meeting. I always felt that at least this one's a little short, but I assume that's the usual amount of time it takes. So I think they have a lot to discuss, huh?
yeah, G7 is annual summit of the countries with the world's most advanced economies, which is Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US. It's called G7. Between 1997 and 2014, it was called G8 because Russia was admitted, so as a gesture of goodwill,
Uh huh. So I've also
contrary
seen
to,
G7 plus one,
yeah,
but I have
sometimes
seen
called
G8
G7
as
plus
well.
1. Yeah, right. It was like a gesture of goodwill for Russia, contrary to what Russia keeps claiming that since the dissolution of the Soviet Union, everybody was treating Russia terribly and trying to bring Russia down, which is just not true. Just Russian propaganda.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean,
So,
nobody's going against these countries. Nobody's trying to destroy them. It's a
totally
narrative
not.
of a
Absolutely.
thief who is trying to deflect the blame.
That's been showing a goodwill and was caught over and over again thieving and murdering, like attacking Ukraine
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2014, was eventually expelled, and which was a good move. And from 2014, the format is back to G7.
Right, but I think this meeting might be a little bit special. I don't know about the past ones, but the EU is also the EU as an entity is involved in this one, right?
Right, represented by Michel, President Michel.
We
Yeah. President of the European Council, Charles Michel, and there is also President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen.
Yeah, yeah.
That, yeah, they are attending. So let's see what's on their agenda. Number one, Russia's aggression against Ukraine.
Yeah, that's the main agenda. Yeah.
This is the main agenda. This is the world's biggest problem right now. Yeah, today President Volodymyr Zelensky arrived in Hiroshima, Japan.
Yeah, that's been a bit of a surprise. I mean, I think they were
Uh,
counting with this. They just, they
uh-huh. Maybe
didn't
for
want. They
security
did. Yeah, they
reasons.
didn't want to publish this information ahead of time.
Yeah, right. Right. So far, the summit ends tomorrow with a statement, but we already know that 70, maybe 80 entities will be sanctioned
Wow.
uh, regarding the supplying the Russian war machine, and some of them will be Chinese firms.
Hmm. So they have been caught and put on the blacklist, or at least there is
They think so.
some suspicion.
Yeah, there are suspicions, and apparently there are some proofs which China denies, and China does many things behind closed doors and behind curtains.
Very true. And also
So
they do not. If the China would like to claim that these are private companies, but obviously in a totalitarian country, this is not. Some deals like this will not happen without the knowledge or the participation of the state. So there is no plausible deniability here, and China is also maybe trying to deflect, saying, "Oh, maybe this was sent to other countries," but we can see where the weapons end up.
yeah, exactly. Deny and deflect. There's the Chinese policy.
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
some companies have also supplied weapons to Ukraine, but that it doesn't work like that. Just because you supply both sides would not stop you from being sanctioned.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, China doesn't want to be sanctioned. China is very careful. China is very afraid of the
Yeah,
sanctions.
they're kind of worried
So,
about
so
this.
unofficially, China is communicating very well with the West. Trying to avoid any little possibility of sanctions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. So another big issue is will be the point number two: engagement with international partners.
Who could that be? What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Which partners have problems to engage with?
Yeah, for example, who is a major trading partner of the entire European Union and Japan?
Yeah, uh, yeah, that's
This is
China.
obviously China. I don't think they wanted to name China here, but I think China is back on the agenda. Let's say.
It is. It is. And the name of the agenda is Chinese economic coercion.
Yeah, you can see that there are that the Japanese presidency has also invited leaders from other countries, but China is not on the list.
There is
So
India was
yes,
invited.
you can see
This is right.
from the list of countries under the main points, and that China is not there. So this gives you an idea that China probably has a long way to go to be able to participate in these kinds of meetings.
Mhm. In China, China is not a good shape. China, well, if they try, but they are not even trying. They just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. So the problem is that right now European Union is currently the European Union is currently expanding its toolkit against such practices like what China's been doing, like threatening or imposing economic costs uh, on targets with the objective of extracting policy concession, and this practice has been intensifying since actually this started in the 70s, but since the reappointment of Xi Jinping as the country's president in 2018, and they've been stronger and harsher. And right now, these G7 countries are discussing, talking about how to deal with this coercion.
Yeah. I mean, didn't want to interrupt you, but Xi Jinping has been the chairman of the Communist Party since 2012, but maybe the presidential function was added in 2018.
Yeah, reappointment.
Yeah.
Since
Got
he
it.
was reappointed
Got it. Okay,
for the
understood.
second term, that's when he started being very assertive.
Yeah, and this is a problem for some countries. This has been evident in Europe.
China's been so-called.
We've seen this, for example, in Serbia and in a few other countries as well.
Yeah, China has been especially targeting the small countries. China officially claims that respects every country, regardless its size, equally, but it's not true.
Yeah,
China,
this is not
especially,
the case.
targets small countries like Lithuania, for example, for opening this Taiwan foreign office.
Yeah, it was some kind of a type A representative office.
Now here is an article from this month from Center for Strategic and International Studies, which is calling out the China's aggression, and they are literally talking about particular cases.
Right. You can see three
China's-
main things, right? That China doesn't like. That is interaction with Taiwan,
Yes.
like we've seen in the case of Lithuania, for example.
Right?
Democracy in Hong Kong and support for that. And the third main thing is the genocide in Xinjiang. And there's some other few other things that come up, but these are the three things that irritate China the most.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Like, for example, the Chinese request on independent investigation on the origins of the COVID, which made China furious.
Wow.
Happening. Let's
Just-
talk
just
talk
wow.
about this. Yeah, let's talk about this example, because what China did to Australia is unprecedented.
You're right.
And this is a typical example of China's economic coercion. So yeah, or before that, look at this example. In 2020,
There's some
China's
Chinese
ambassador.
soldiers in the borderlands. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there's a picture of Chinese soldiers. So China's ambassador to Sweden made a statement saying, "We treat our friends with fine wine, but for our enemies we have shotguns."
Wow. Not exactly diplomatic language, is it?
That's terrible. That's undiplomatic. This
That
is
sounds
the
horrible.
calling for war.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
I mean-
Yeah, you're right.
What else could he say to make his statement even harsher? Like, "We will kill you all and your family." That would be worse, probably.
Yes, but if you're our friends, we will treat you for dinner. To a Chinese banquet around the round table.
Yeah,
And
they are
everyone
such a-
will want to do ganbei cheers with you.
Right, bottom up, yeah. Yeah, because we are very hospitable people, we are very friendly, We never attacked any country in our several thousand years of history. What is this about?
This,
China kidnapped Swedish bookseller. Ah, okay. Here we go.
okay. A bookseller went to okay, a Hong Kong bookseller. Okay, but still,
Yeah,
maybe he was a
still a
Swedish citizen.
human being. Yeah, still a human. China treats the worst. China treats its own citizens or former Chinese citizens because China once a Chinese or of Chinese inheritance, forever Chinese. So if you have Chinese inheritance or if you came from China, no matter you are American or Swedes, you will be always regarded as Chinese, and therefore China has the right to punish you.
This kind of a precedent must be stopped. That China thinks that they can coerce other people in other countries. So the other country they will have to take stand against this, and we see that happening now.
Mm-hmm. Should be, but China doesn't care. China, it's not for discussion for China.
Right.
This is called the Chinese assertiveness.
Wow.
You know? Yeah, China just say no. We don't want to talk about it. That's it.
It's
And
ridiculous.
you just cannot force them to concess anything. They just say no. That's the assertiveness. That's why China is also called on assertiveness, and right now economic coercion, which ironically China always twists around. It's like a student learning a new word. So typically, first
Xi
they are
Jinping
include
has learned a new word in his latest English lesson. Yeah.
right, and then include it in the vocabulary right away. Like, okay, let's play this video.
All right. Yeah, because
It's from today
the
from
meeting is on the way, so the volume should be
Deutsche
up.
Welle. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
All right.
please
Go ahead.
play.
We
Yeah.
can confirm that this agenda item does not sit well at all with Beijing.
China has never engaged in coercion or bullying. China has always opposed hegemony, unilateralism and coercive diplomacy. We urge the G7 to conform to the general trend of the era, which is openness and inclusiveness, and refrain from engaging in coercive diplomacy and closed and exclusive cliques.
All right, for more now, I want to bring in Matthew Reynolds.
Wow.
It said like two or three sentences. First, no, we don't do any economic coercion, and you should stop doing it. You should bullying and doing economic coercion. That's it. Very
Yes.
simple.
No, this is really like
Deny?
a bully saying, "Well, you should stop bullying us." It's ridiculous. And
You
what
should stop
trend?
bullying.
God, what trend? There is no trend of accepting China with its flaws anymore.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the opposite.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. 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 It's like you caught a thief stealing from you, and the thief said, "No, I'm not stealing from you. You are stealing from me."
Right. Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah. No shame. They're like little children, like when you listen to, I don't know, like Hu Xijin, yeah, from the Global Times. It's like listening to a little kid.
No, really, yeah.
Like,
He does come across.
yeah,
Like
this is his statement. This is Hu Xijin's statement. Australia, yeah, is a gum on the bottom of a shoe.
wow, way to call your almost crucial trading partners, China.
Right. Yes, it's just just like a little kids calling each other, and I mean,
Yeah.
giving each other names. Like Australia is nothing. It's just trash. Like 25 million people. They, what I, what I believe. Like China is the country with these hundreds and thousands years of history, and at some point China was very successful and was expanding very fast. And Chinese believe that they can always learn from this from their own history, and when during the times where they were successful, they must have been doing something correct. And what was correct was they made all the countries around. Well, firstly, permanently they were in war with them. Secondly, they made them kowtow to the emperor.
Yeah, what does that mean exactly? This involved a large procession of some envoys from these countries that would visit Beijing on an all expense paid trip by Beijing, so they had an interest in doing that. And they would have to, kind of bow down before the Chinese emperor and basically accept them as the major power. And they would have, China would support them, or at least support the ruling family, the ruling house in those countries, for example, Vietnam, Korea, but others as well. And I don't know if they really came to their help, if they had some problems, but they did want the other countries to come to their aid if China would have some problems. I don't know to what extent that happened, but why would the other countries do this? Because China was the major power at that time, at least in the region. And maybe they had no choice but to work with China.
Yeah. Otherwise, either you listen to us or we will punish you.
Yeah.
That's the coercion.
And why was China able to do that? Because it would have a large population. So even if you
they consider,
go ahead. Even if you are not successful militarily, you still have a lot of soldiers.
Yeah, correct. Of course. I mean, either we cannot attack you, and then we pay you some tributes, so you will protect our borders. We pay you off, like during the old times. We will send you some emperor's daughters. We will pay you. We will send you some silk or gold, and you will protect our borders.
Right.
Or you are weak. So you are ripe for invasion, and then we will just take you and implement your country to our big empire, and we just extend.
That's pretty much how the entire turn of events during China's dynastic history went down.
Yeah, and they consider Australia being their neighbor. Somebody they should
because
control.
China is extending into the into the South China Sea.
Right. Because some old map, they found in 1947, which shows that China was ruling the South China Sea.
Interesting how it's becoming a topic now. Right, because China wants to protect its shipping lanes. That's the only reason. If there wasn't a map, they would have some map would have magically appeared.
Yeah, well, we can find map. Every country would find probably hundreds of maps. They would show them that long time ago they owned the country was bigger, so they probably should take it back, at some point.
And don't forget,
no matter who is living there,
that Australia now does have a large ethnically Chinese population living there.
That's correct. Yeah.
So maybe China is starting to see this. This is our second home. Another province.
That's right.
I'm joking, but they're not behaving very well towards their crucial trading partner, because Australia has a lot of mineral resources and China does import them.
Yeah, let's see what sanctions China put on Australia.
Wow.
Since 2020. Just a reminder. Australia push for an independent investigation into the origin of COVID-19. That's it. That's what they ask. Can we please go and investigate? Probably because we want to avoid this pandemic or similar pandemic from happening again.
Yeah, this was not to blame
So
China. You know,
yeah,
maybe
China
that would have
went.
come out, but the point is with
China went. Yeah.
authoritarian or totalitarian countries is that they have so much to hide that just by principle they don't want to share anything, and it's really destructive for China.
Oh, no, nothing. Yeah, and there were okay. So there was put tariffs on barley,
Beef and lamb.
beef, and lamb.
Wine.
Wine. The reason for wine was just they accused China for subsidizing winemakers
What? Oh, okay.
for dumping prices. It's like China is the biggest producer of wine in the world or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. These just excuses, plausible excuses. Yeah. Cotton, tariffs, lobsters.
Yeah.
Why? In 2020, November 2020, China left tons of lobsters at the airport tarmac, to die because they claim they found some traces of metals in the lobsters.
Because
Just like that.
well, it's an interesting claim. I don't know maybe if it was true or not, but which country is notorious for having food safety problems?
Yeah. In which country?
So when
it is?
this country is claiming that, it sounds a little weird, shall we say?
China's been doing everything they can behind the curtains. The Chinese state doesn't acknowledge the deployment of measures or the links between them, and because then it's difficult to challenge these practices in the WTO. Just China is a notorious liar. So they
A
lie.
rule breaker, and
Yeah.
a line stepper, someone who steps over the line.
Yeah. Every time they can, they will do it. Okay, next, timber,
Even
coal.
But China does have coal.
Now,
Notice this doesn't include iron ore or other metals, because China does need metal.
yeah, China has coal, but it's cheaper to import Australian coal than to mine their own coal. That's the reason why they
So-
need Australian coal.
So putting tariffs on it, it's really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, now recently China resumed import of the coal because they need it. They
Yeah,
need
yeah,
for
yeah,
their
yeah,
coal-powered power plants.
yeah. Making
So-
the Beijing sky nice and clear again.
Yeah. So this is Australia, but they went even further.
What did they do?
Australia apparently investigated some of the Australian soldiers' war crimes in Afghanistan. They came with a report
Okay.
that 25 Australian soldiers were involved in the murder of 39 Afghan civilians and prisoners between 2009 and 2013. What China did?
Well, what did they do?
China posted on Twitter the fabricated image of Australian soldier with a bloody knife next to a child, apparently murdering the child.
What the hell? Why? First of
Yeah.
all, Australia is already being open about this. There was no need to talk about it. Australia is admitting it, that there was something going on. And second of all, why use a fabricated image? And keep in mind, this is not from some random commentator. This is from the foreign ministry spokesman.
Yeah, exactly. Again, thief is calling another guy who, I don't know,
Oh, this is
accidentally
ridiculous. This is
ate somebody
clearly.
else's.
It seems like they've forgotten who they're talking to. I mean, no international audiences are going to pay attention to this if Australia is already talking about it. This seems like this was
Exactly.
meant
Yeah.
for the Chinese domestic news, but somehow they decided to pull it out because they wanted to criticize Australia for something. So basically, they had something and then they just fabricated a little bit more. Give it that extra spin.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Exactly. Yeah.
disgusting.
Make a camel out of mosquito. Yeah.
Yes, in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. This is awful. This is terrible. This is something awful. Look at China is committing genocide, right? And they say, okay, no, we are equal.
Yeah,
We just
exactly,
put
right?
1 million Uyghurs in detention centers. We gang raped many Uyghur women, and we brainwashed them. We took their children from them, and apparently Australian soldiers killed 39 civilians in Afghanistan. Yeah, that sounds about it.
Yes,
Equal?
but Australia is admitting it.
Exactly.
That's the
Nobody's
major
defending.
difference.
Nobody's denying it. Nobody's denying it.
It's
that
like if I
soldiers will pay.
if I do something bad and I said I did something bad, and then you say you did something bad. Well, yeah, I just said so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell me again.
Yeah.
Just please repeat what I say. Repeat after me, and then sounds like, oh, you came up with this. You are the first. We didn't know. Nobody knew. Australia is number 5 country, which has the best human rights record in the world. China, on the other hand, can you guess?
China is closer to the bottom
Position.
of this list.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, 5 or 6th worst country in the world, like 120. 120.
Horrible.
Shame on China. Shame on China. Then Australia went to the United Nations, and they reviewed Australian human rights record. With the 5 points. Later they extended the points to 14, but these are the 5 points that China discovered that Australian human rights. Okay.
Well, let's see.
Let's listen
Take
to this
actions to
guy.
combat racial discrimination, hate speech and violence, and protect
Protect the
Okay,
rights of
hate
ethnic
speech.
minorities. Wow, China,
Ethnic-
really? Really?
Yeah. China, Australia every year reports hundreds of racial discriminated cases. Like, I don't know, somebody's walking on the street and shouts at Asian person like, go back to Asia, or I don't know.
Yes, but the
Everything
person
is
does not get
reported.
is not sent to a re-education camp in Australia. That's the difference.
Yeah, right. But it gets reported. There are hundreds of cases every year in Australia because nobody is hiding them.
Got it.
They talk about them.
Understood.
You can read about them in the news. On the contrary, how many cases does China? How many racial motivated cases? How many racial slurs at foreigners been reported in China?
Also, a good point. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of stereotypes in Chinese society that people have about people.
Yeah, it's very common that the Chinese person calls white foreigner white trash,
Yes,
and
yes.
even worse
Yeah,
at Africans. They get even worse.
yeah, and they're
But-
treated worse. When it comes to job, housing, and whatnot.
During the COVID, the Africans were thrown out on the street
Yeah, and
from the
why?
apartments. Well, they were saying they were bringing the COVID. That happened like
But
in
they were in
March.
China before.
Yes, February. Right away the COVID started.
Were these
They look
dark-skinned
around
Chinese people from Wuhan? No, right? I
Yeah.
mean, these people they were there. You know, this is what's. But it's convenient to shift the blame, and it's convenient to see that. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Next, let's listen.
Rights of ethnic minorities. Second, protect the rights of migrants and close offshore detention centers for migrants. Third, thoroughly
Detention centers, yeah? Typical. Right,
Right.
detention centers.
centers.
Close the detention center.
investigate the war crimes committed by the Australian military overseas military operations, pursue the responsibilities of perpetrators, and prevent
Too late. Already done.
Yeah.
impunity and recurrence of similar crimes. Fourth, eliminate systematic discrimination against aboriginals and combat violence against them.
Combat violence. It's like, they are combating them, apparently. Systematic? Really?
I don't think
Really?
the
Systematic?
Australian system and the Australian government is doing that.
Nobody is denying there are cases like this, but systematic?
Yeah, that's going
Sounds
a
like
little too far.
Yeah, it's very far.
Fifth, stop using false information to make baseless charges against other countries for political purposes. Thank you, madam.
Isn't that what China just did with the image that we saw?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
baseless.
I shouldn't laugh, but this is.
But anyway, by baseless charges, that means they asked for independent investigation on the origins.
So
of
you
COVID.
think this is clearly punishment for Australia, and you think this is because of they just wanted to an independent investigation of COVID
Totally
origins.
agree. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because probably they are afraid that they would find out that it was really a leak from the from a laboratory
Right.
in Wuhan.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
that's what I'm afraid of. Unbelievable. Yeah, human rights record criticized. Yeah. So right now,
Again,
basically-
I shouldn't be laughing, but if you look at this picture of the Chinese flags with the cameras,
Right. All right. Maybe then that's why somebody took the picture.
yeah,
Yeah, surveillance cameras everywhere. Huh? China is a surveillance state.
yeah,
So not only
they've
cameras,
been-
it's also the
yeah, there is an entire apparatus set up, especially in places
social
like
credit system.
yes, but it's especially bad in places like Tibet and Xinjiang, where they really almost carved up the major areas into a grid with police stations and surveillance systems in place.
Correct. Yeah, right. Right now, also the G7 is discussing about Taiwan is also a problem. They are afraid that China would take some actions against Taiwan, military actions. So this might be also a problem. Yeah.
I think they
So
want
they
to.
are
I
trying
think
to-
especially Japan is kind of nervously eyeing the situation. Same for Korea, and other countries are not comfortable with what China is doing in the region in general.
Yeah. The Philippines, Vietnam.
Yeah.
Nobody is happy with China. Yeah. One of the solutions for this problem is actually I don't know if you chip 4 alliance,
This is interesting.
which is basically a discussion between Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, and the U.S. how to restrict access to some semiconductors to China.
Yes, because basically these semiconductors, the very small ones, they are just a few, in some cases a few atoms thick. Now China can make the larger ones, but they don't have the technology to make the very small ones, because this takes a lot of time and effort to research.
Correct.
I'm
China
going to
cannot
say
make
it, but China would like to steal it because they can't make them. So in a way, China might perhaps want to claim that, oh, these countries are ganging up on us. Well, no, I think they're trying to protect their intellectual property. And another reason might be that they are worried that China might use this, in missiles and other sorts of military applications.
I think it's safe to say that China already tried to steal the technology but didn't succeed.
Right. I mean, this is
Yeah.
more tightly controlled, and it's a very fine process.
China likes to claim that follows all the international rules and agreements, but it doesn't. Like in 2016, the Philippines, after China was claiming this economic exclusive zone around the Philippines, and that belongs, according to some ancient map, to China, the Philippines took this case to the International Court in Hague, and they won.
Wow. So
They
what did
won.
what did what
What
did
was
China
the-
do?
Right. China boycotted the tribunal and refused to acknowledge its findings. That's
that
it.
is
Done.
ridiculous. But they will
Yeah.
have to take some steps to abide by them.
Not really. No. They don't have to. They built until now, they built 27 military outposts in the South China Sea. And they
Yeah,
are
right, yeah.
militarized.
Yeah.
All of them are militarized. So China is basically not abiding by the international law at all.
No, you're right. They're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if China had a
that's it.
problem, I'm sure they would be happy to take something to the International Court in The Hague.
Absolutely.
You
If China
see the hypocrisy here.
if China could put their Chinese judges in the international court, they would try that
Oh God.
tomorrow. If they could
Save
bribe
us
them.
all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can't. So they have no choice. Just ignore it.
Because in China,
They
obviously
doesn't happen.
the judges are Communist Party members, so it doesn't matter if there's a separation of power between the three branches on paper. It doesn't work in practice because everything's staffed by communists.
Absolutely. Yeah. The
Pretty,
the legal system in China
pretty much.
is corrupt. Doesn't work. It's a joke. Yeah. China is a joke.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
the
there are
world been pretending
problems.
for years and years, closing both eyes and pretending, that give them time, they are improving. They are not. They are getting worse. At least they know it since 2018, and after the COVID infestation, they just saw that China is a troublemaker. China is not helping. Like Belt and Road Initiative, which is the way how to bring all the other countries to kowtow to China power. So 12 countries are in serious debts.
Yeah.
China doesn't give you anything for free. China doesn't forgive you your debts. China will insist you have to pay back.
It seems
All
like
this scrapping.
instead of Belt and Road, it should be called Debt and Fraud or something.
Yes. That would be more precise. Yeah, and like in Sri Lanka, when Sri Lanka couldn't pay back its debt, they just took its port for 100 years. What is it? It's imperialism, you know? They're just going back to
Unfortunately, it
19th
is.
century.
Yeah, this is not. This is China not going with the trend of the times as they claimed Australia or other countries are not
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, this is backfiring. China, in a long strategic term, is making everything worse. It also making it worse for itself.
Yeah,
These countries hate.
it's a good point. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
these countries they
yeah,
were very happy to receive investments from China because they, they were good for them, right? But it's not good for them if, if China.
well, it seemed it was good for them. Like for example, Laos. You know, the Laos received lots of help from Japan for free. Japan just came, built up the roads and infrastructure for free, just helping this poor country.
Yeah.
China came, the serious debt percent is to China. China is not backing off. China is not forgiving anything.
No, they seem very adamant on
So
getting
behind the
getting their
doors, all these
money's
countries,
worth back.
behind the doors, the countries are talking about, how they are not happy what China is doing to them. And right, the rest of the world is trying to help them, to get out of these troubles they put themselves in, but it will take some time, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so China. Russia and China was biggest problem. Right now.
Yeah. I mean, yes, because these are massive countries, and
Massive,
if they behave badly, then it can cause problems on a global scale.
yes, and they are rich, they have money. So more money you have, the more troubles it causes.
Well, that's a problem, right? Before China was exporting so many products and getting a lot of investment from other countries, they were very meek and docile. They were playing very nice, trying to
Yeah, they keep playing. They,
get this investment. Let's forget, please, world, forget and forgive us about all the atrocities that we've committed since 1949.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. The world was too quick to forget. Tiananmen Square massacre and Cultural Revolution, all these terrible, terrible events
Yeah.
that that happened, like China killing 40 to 80 million Chinese citizens dying of starvation for no reason, while China was still exporting its wheat to Russia.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Because
And
they
they
don't
think
want
they are
they
big
don't want to
players.
show that they have any problems.
Yeah, they are hiding everything. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, on last Sunday, there was a rival meeting between Putin and Li Shangfu, the Chinese defense minister. And what they talked about was about some closer commitment between the two countries' militaries and how to strengthen their military strategic cooperation and sharing useful information. You know, just funny. It's just
Unbelievable.
incidentally, it happened just before the G7 summit started.
So you think this was a kind of a hidden message there, yeah? Don't do anything against us, you see, because we can also meet, and you don't want that.
Yeah,
We can also
yeah,
start
it
working
was already.
more closely together. So you're worried that not much might come out of this G7 meeting with regards to China.
Yeah. I think what you think. They are just maybe trying to persuade these G7 countries to make their final statement, a little bit softer on China.
Okay.
Yeah, just push it a little bit. And you know what was funny? Like Russia obliged. Like Putin in person met this Chinese minister, and he just pretending like, oh yeah, this meeting is very important, but I believe China asked for it. And Putin
Yeah,
obliged.
could be. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, yeah, funny. Like kindergarten kids
That was really
playing their own little game.
like kindergarten bullies.
Right, right. Kindergarten bullies.
Yeah.
Correct. And yeah, so tomorrow the summit is ending, and we already know probably how it's going to end.
Well, let's
Maybe
see
we'll
what comes out of it. If there will be any statements or steps, I think maybe the countries will adapt some kind of countermeasures to sort of. I don't want maybe not necessarily protect Taiwan, but to sort of intervene if China would try to step up its military operations. Probably
Yeah,
only
we'll
only
see.
in case of a war. Yeah, kind of a contingency plan what to do.
Right, correct. Yeah, let's see.
But let's see,
Okay.
maybe they might be trying to involve India more now. You know?
Hopefully, I hope so. Yeah. India is like countermeasure to China right now.
Yeah. I mean, India has its
Yeah,
own share of problems, but at the very least, it is a democratic country.
Yeah, India is a democratic country. Yeah. That's correct.
So that's
India has its
that's
own
the difference when compared to China.
India is not seeking world hegemony, unlike China.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
they don't.
It's safe to say.
aspirations.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. I'm quite curious
Yeah.
what's gonna come out of this.
Yeah, thanks, Tito. It was
All
a
right.
pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure is all
New
mine,
channel.
Rabat. And don't forget, if anyone asks you what China podcast you listen to, just tell them China podcast.
The only one.
All right. Well, let's see if this catches on. All right.
Right.
Well, take care, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Tito. Pleasure talking to you.
See you. Bye.